on the App State Sports Network. This is Mountaineer Talk, presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge. UNC Health Blue Ridge, your weekly inside scoop on App State basketball. Mountaineer Talk is also brought to you by Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi and some friends and get in the game. Pepsi, the official soft drink of your App State Mountaineers. And by UNC Health Blue Ridge, moving healthcare forward together. Now, to get things started, here's your host, Matt Present.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mountaineer Talk here on this Monday night at River Street Ale House. Thanks so much for joining us, and wherever you're tuned in, whether it be here in person, watching along on Facebook, or on one of our radio affiliates, glad you've joined us for this Monday evening show. Elena Pericic alongside. We'll get things going here momentarily. Eren Banks coming up at the bottom of the hour. And, of course, the head coaches, Alaura Sharp and Dustin Kerns. If you've got a question for any of them, there are plenty of ways to get in touch with the show tonight. You can use the hashtag Mountaineer Talk on Twitter, mountaineertalk@gmail.com, or text us 828-278-9850. Again, that's 828-278-9850. Elena, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Big shot for you the other day. Lifted your team to overtime. You guys got a big win in the extra period. Let's go back to that shot, right? Because it was coming out of a timeout. Take me through the discussion, the draw up from Coach in the huddle to get you that look.
Well, Coach drew a play, and she said, we're going to take whatever is open. And I just found myself to get me open, and I was shooting good that night, and I was feeling myself, so I was like, I'm wide open, I'm just going to take it. And the shot went in, and I was really happy that I could down there for my team.
So it wasn't designed just to go to you, it's just the way the play transpired, you were in the right place to take the shot.
Well, I mean, it was designed like to go to me, but Coach Sharp was like, if somebody else is open and you're not, pass the ball, right? So.
Well, fortunately, you were open, you hit the shot, you guys got a big defensive stop at the end of regulation, and then you get it done in overtime. I know during this last stretch of play, coaches talked about you guys are knocking on the door. You're right there. You're late in these close games to get over that hump and get this win. What did that mean for you guys?
It meant everything. Honestly, we needed it so bad, and we got it. It was a really fun game. I'm just grateful that we got this win. We really, really needed it. And going on the road again, I feel this gave our team a little bit of juice. So it just feels amazing.
Let's talk about your role on this year's team. Last year, you started 28 games. You're one of the returning players. This year, you came off the bench for the first 3 quarters of the season or so. You've started the last 6 games. What's the transition been like? How have you found success in your role, no matter if that's starting or coming off the bench?
I mean, I'm just trusting my coaches. I think they know what's best for our team. And I don't mind coming off the bench. I feel like my role changed a little bit. I don't know. I just think I expanded my game a lot more than last year, and I'm glad that I can give that to my team.
What are those things that you worked on during the offseason to be able to bring a new element to your game?
Just try to bring more rebounding in the game, more assists also, and just like help my team whatever they need. If I need to play inside, if I need to play outside, just doing everything.
We mentioned you're one of the returners. A lot of new faces on this team. What was your role, not just, we talked about your role on the court. What was your role in terms of bringing this group of players together and being someone who had some knowledge of what it was like working in this system and with this staff?
I was just trying to be the best leader I can, just be there for everybody, help them out, try to answer as much questions as I can. I don't know, I just feel I did a good job with that. I have Heggy and Zoe with me too, so I wasn't alone. I don't know, just a little bit different role than last year. Last year we had different leaders, and it was just fun to see that process. And since we had a lot of new people, it was just day by day, taking it day by day.
How have you grown in your leadership?
Well, I think I just feel comfortable in it as of right now. At first, I was really like, I don't think I'm ready to do this. I don't know if I can do it. But as the season was going on, I'm just feeling really comfortable being a leader and just being here for my teammates daily.
As you've gotten more comfortable, not just with this team, but in this community, what have you come to like most about Boone?
People, my friends, my team, everybody who support this community. Just like I said before, this feels like home, far away from home, and I'm really grateful for that. Just how everybody is always supportive, and no matter what is happening, we always have people holding our back.
You're from Croatia. You mentioned being a long way from home, but during this time, every 4 years, there's an opportunity where people get really patriotic behind their countries because the Olympics are on. What has your experience been like watching the Olympics the last week or two?
Honestly, I was watching it maybe 2 days, and that's because Heggy and Zoe made me, because they were watching some Americans competing, so I was just sitting there on the couch with them. But I wasn't really paying attention, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know who is competing. I'm just there, like, watching it on TV.
Do you have a favorite event or sport at the Olympics?
No.
No?
No.
All right.
I mean, I just like to watch sports, so whatever's on the TV, I'm just going to watch it.
Well, and you grew up playing not just basketball, but also beach volleyball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when was it that you decided to commit your attention fully to basketball?
Well, that's been like my first love since I was a kid, and I just figured like, oh, I'm better at basketball than at volleyball, so let's just roll with basketball. And
what did you enjoy most though about volleyball?
I don't know, it's just fun, you know, like you can tan also because you're outside on the sun the whole day.
Fair enough.
And then like, I don't know, it's fun.
Well, Elena, it's been great having you with us here on the show tonight. Best of luck the rest of the season, and congratulations on a big moment on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Elena Pericic kicking off our show tonight. We are just getting started here on Mountaineer Talk. Plenty more to get to after the break as head coach Alaura Sharp joins us. Tonight's show brought to you in part by the Peddlin' Pig. Thank you to the Peddlin' Pig for their continued support of App State Athletics. It's Mountaineer Talk presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge, moving healthcare forward together. And we'll be back right after this.
More and more Mountaineer.
Present.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk here on this Monday evening at River Street Ale House. Glad you're with us as head coach Alaura Sharp joins the show. And Coach, we talked a little bit about it with Elena Pericic a moment ago, but during the last several times you and I have spoken, you've talked about the fact that you guys are so close. You're knocking on the door. You're in these tight games. And then on Saturday, you get over the hump in a big overtime win. How emotional was it to see that hard work and see that resilience come to fruition?
It was awesome, to be honest with you. Just everything that went into that game. Obviously, it being the pink game, we had on Val Whiteside uniforms. The moment with Elle hitting the shot to send it to overtime. But, there was one point in the game we were up by quite a big margin. And, you're as a head coach in the moment, you'd sure like to win a game by 17. But, however, they cut back into it, and they took the lead. We lost the lead, and it's the first time I feel like we've made big shots in big moments to be able to send it to overtime. Emma hit a shot. We had an offensive rebound, kick out. Just a lot of good things that went into kind of closing out the game. And then I thought we really stormed into overtime. I thought outside of the turnovers in the fourth quarter, which we had 10, I thought it's one of the best games that we've played on both sides of the ball. And you can start seeing some of our player development come to fruition. So that's really exciting. You can see it in our post players. You can see it in Deja Mitchell around the rim. You can see it in Elena and how hard she's attacking and getting downhill. All of that stuff we need down the stretch to continue to be successful.
When you go back and you watch a game after the fact, and I'm sure there are things that you notice in game, but I'm sure you're so focused on strategy that you probably don't see the player development as much in game as when you go back and watch it. What's kind of that secondary experience as you kind of pull these tidbits out about how different players have progressed throughout the season? How do you see it the second time through as opposed to when you see it live?
Well, yeah, I think even like Elle mentioned, her rebounding. I didn't realize throughout the flow of the game, sometimes you don't realize how hard she's crashing. Or, you go to the game before where Deja's 1 for 14 and she finally plays off 2. And so then, even Jada Burton, she gets downhill, she sprays the ball out, like so many good things. And the other thing, too, is, in football, they get to have somebody up looking down. Yeah. In basketball, we are all level. And so when all of a sudden you get to see the game from up here, it's a totally different perspective. The other thing that's interesting is sometimes I'll watch the game on both sides. So there's a key motion camera that might be on this side, and then an ESPN copy will be at a different time depending on the school, or a different side depending on the school. Our home gym, it's on the same side. And so even the two different sides of the floor gives you a totally different view of what you see within the game. And so watching the game, you notice leadership, you notice effort a little bit more. Obviously, those player development wins. Obviously, both of our post players played really, really well on Saturday. So just excited to see, today we spent a big chunk of our practice in player development. It's just kind of that time of year. You sharpen things up, you focus on what's really important for your next game, and then you stay in your player development.
We talked with Elle about the play that you drew up at the end of the game. What goes into, I'm sure you have a number of plays in the playbook for late game situations, whether it be 30 seconds left like that one or 5 seconds left. How do you kind of figure out which is the one you want to go with?
Well, the first thing about Georgia State is that they're hard to play against. They had kids that were in foul trouble, and it's hard to choose a matchup because they play a matchup zone similar to us. The possession before, we tried to go in the paint, and they kind of doubled in the paint, so we decided as a coaching staff, let's go to the 3. Elle had been super, super hot playing. I mean, her shots literally didn't hit anything but the net, and so we made the decision to go for the tie, which a lot of times I can see myself going for the 2 stretching out the game. However, the way that they press, and we were out of timeouts because I had appealed and lost a timeout, so we ended up going for the 3. And exactly like she said, we were running the possession for her, and I said, we'll take best available shot, 3 or 2. She was wide open with the little shot fake sidestep and just drained it.
Talk about Elle and her development. You hit on player development as a concept, but she's one of the few returning players you have on this year's team. She's in a little bit of a different role this year. How has she been able to be adaptable and work with what is required of her this season?
Yeah, I think the biggest change in her role has been leadership. She really is the heartbeat of our team, the energy the effort that she brings on a daily basis is amazing. You saw her on the court leading, huddling, telling people next play. I mean, her leadership last year, she hardly talked, especially early on in the season. So the growth that she has made to be comfortable in a communication role has been really fun to watch. And then you talk about her game. I mean, she played the 5 for us last year. So she's playing a totally different position, playing all time mostly out on the perimeter. And it doesn't maybe impact as much on the offensive end, but defensively she's guarding quicker, faster players than she did last year at the 5, so that's been an adjustment for her. But like she said, I mean, she's going to embrace any role that we put in front of her. She's embraced her new teammates. Again, her upside is still really, really high. I was so excited just from a confidence standpoint. She's been so frustrated with herself and how she shot the ball. So to see her really play like that and play comfortable and confident, excited to see what these next few games bring for her.
What is the role, we talked about kind of her evolution on the court. What is her role off the court in terms of getting newcomers up to speed, in terms of, her and others, I would imagine, are part of the recruiting process as you go year to year?
Yeah, I mean, we set the returners down last year before we got into the portal and just really identified with them what are some really important things that you want to see in a teammate. What kind of teammates do you want? Where do we want to head with this thing? And they were really valuable in the recruiting process. And what people don't understand about the recruiting process is, basketball season is so long. It's the longest sport. So you're basically, all your weekends are utilized playing in your season. All of your holidays from fall break to Thanksgiving break to Christmas and spring break, everything is taken up by basketball. They get 2 weeks off, and then here we go. We start bringing in visits, and then here they go their weekends again. They're entertaining in the evening. I mean, it's taxing on returners, and they did a great job. They took a lot of pride in helping us recruit. And then to me, Elle is she's glue for us. She helps the new players. She's glue in practice every day. She's awesome.
Plenty more to get to with head coach Alaura Sharp, but first we will step aside. App State football season ticket holders can renew their season tickets online to once again pack the Rock for the 2026 season. Renew now by the deadline of April 15th and lock in current pricing for both 2026 and 2027. Head to appstatesports.com/tickets to renew yours today. It's Mountaineer Talk presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge. More right after this. Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk. Glad you're with us here on this Monday evening at River Street Ale House, continuing our conversation with head coach Alaura Sharp. Coach, not just the Pink game, but also Alumni Day on Saturday. We'll get to both of those, but I always think it's cool to see the names that you guys add to your wall outside the locker room. The court that has been put up on the side of the wall that former players signed. Tell me about how that idea first came to be and how exciting it is to add some names.
Yeah, definitely can't take any of the credit. We totally stole that from men's basketball. We wanted to make the hallway look similar when we kind of redid some graphics and stuff. And, he had mentioned how well that wall had gone over, and I saw how many names are on it. And, to me, alumni are low-hanging fruit. That's part of your basketball family. That's who you want to get engaged and really get behind your program. And so that wall has really helped initiate getting people back on campus, gives them a place for them to kind of leave their mark. Some people have done it in honor of people. Some people, managers have done it. We call it the basketball family because in the new world of college athletics, people don't necessarily stay 4 years or aren't here for 4 years. So we've had to kind of tweak it and not necessarily call, basically if you get a diploma from App State, you can sign the basketball family wall.
Well, you used the words in honor of, and I think that segues well into my next question, which was you presented a jersey to the sons of Valerie Whiteside. What did it mean to have them there and representing her and everything that she's meant to this program across history?
Yeah, I think it was awesome that her, husband and both her sons made the trip, right? And just great meeting them. They're awesome guys. One's playing football at Rice. The other one is a Stanford grad, started his own company. So it was really fun just getting to know them. They were so excited and thankful to be back on campus. It's been a long time since they've been back here, but the start of the game was really emotional for me. Just, cancer impacts everybody. And just to see not only, her family on the court, but then also the survivors and people currently battling cancer. Some were alumni. Some of them are people that we work with in the home center every day. And so seeing them walk out, every single one of them that came out, Irene Sawyer had tears in their eyes, right? The people that have fought and won against cancer, it's something that people really go through. And I brought up Elena Tafisi, who's battling cancer, who was our point guard last year, and that stuff just really hits close to home. And so for our players to fight and play like they did and come from behind and take the lead and then win in overtime, it was just the cherry on top of the day.
I think there's so many things that people probably don't appreciate that goes into being a first-year head coach at a new place. And to go back to last year, talking about, getting up to speed from a recruiting perspective, from, developing your playbook and scouting opponents. But I think a big part of it, too, which is clear that you've done, is tried to learn the history of App State. And certainly Valerie Whiteside, a big part of that. How did you go about trying to glean who the impactful people are across the history of this program and some of the stories that come along with their legacy?
Well, I think it started with Doug when he hired me. Doug Gillen gave me a list of people that would be important for me to reach out to, and Carol Almond and Linda Robinson were two people that were on that list. And the more I got to know them, Carol Almond had me over to her house. We talked about App State women's basketball. Once Linda came back from the beach and got into the mountains, I got to know her, and I had them both speak to our team. So our very first team meeting that we had in July with our whole new team last year, they shared about what App State basketball looks like and what it meant to them. And I think it's so important for your players to understand that there's been so much work that's been put into the program before we all got here. And I looked up at the wall the other day. We have a gratitude wall in our locker room, and someone had written up there, "I'm thankful for those that came before me." I think that's awesome.
All right, so much of the messaging, as we talked about, was trying to break through and finish a game strong. Now that you've done that, what does the upcoming week look like? You guys are back on the road Wednesday at Coastal, Saturday at James Madison. What is kind of the next step in the progression of this team down the stretch?
Yeah, I think we've got to find a way to go get a road win. You go to midweek, you're fighting with JMU. We had the lead for, maybe 37 minutes and lost it at the end. We bounced back on Saturday. Now we got to go on the road to a good Coastal team who's one above us in the standings. It's such an important game for us to just continue to go and fight and play really hard. We've been so good on the defensive side of the ball. We got to continue to clean up how we're playing on the offensive side of the ball. To be honest with you, last time we played them, we had a really rough first quarter. We got down right away. We won the other 3 quarters. So it's important that we go down there, we get a really good start. They shoot it a lot better at home, particularly Kristen Williams. So we've got to do a good job guarding the 3-point line, but at the same time, the analytics show that they're really good when they get downhill and they score in the paint. So we've got to do a good job of contesting the 3, but also defending the paint.
Wednesday's an Education Day game. It's not your first rodeo at this year, but when you have a game at a different time, when you have the atmosphere of screaming school children, is there anything different that you do to try to simulate that or prepare for a different body clock game time?
We just got to get to 67 points and everyone will be so excited. No. But yeah, I think the nice thing is we practice 3 days a week at 11 o'clock. And so we're typically up, we're moving. We know that. We'll get up early tomorrow. We'll have film at 8:30 just to kind of get us going, get our brains going right away. And then it'll give us over 24 hours to rest our bodies. So we'll practice here. That way we'll have our practice guys. That's always really beneficial. And then we'll go down and we'll get some shots up tomorrow night. And then, we'll go with no shoot around. We'll go with kind of a longer warm up time to try to get used to the gym and find the shot clocks and the scoreboards, because it is kind of a funky gym. But I think it's our 4th or 5th one that we've had. We're split down the middle in them, so just it is a little bit different. But at the same time, it's really helpful on the travel side of things because we'll get home at a decent time. They can go to class on Thursday, and then we'll get ready to go right back on the road on Friday.
Lastly, you mentioned the road trip Saturday to James Madison. You were telling me a few minutes ago that you're going to get a chance to reunite with a former assistant that you coach with, former teammate that you played with, in an industry where you move around a lot, you travel around, and it's a tight-knit world, but there's a lot of transientness to it. What does it mean to reconnect like this? Yeah,
I'm really excited to see her. Brunzie is what we called her. She was a really good player of the year and an All-American, and so she was a senior when I came in as a junior. She was kind of a mentor to me, and then we actually got both of our first coaching jobs together, and we were roommates. I haven't seen her since 2009 when she was a sports psych at Navy, and she was working, with the Navy, and it was I was in town recruiting, and so it'll mean a lot to see her and for her to see her team because she knows a lot about basketball. She coached for a little while, and now she's a sports psychologist, so that'll be really fun. And just like you said, the basketball world is small, and traveling around when you can reconnect with people, it's pretty cool.
Coach, enjoy that. Good luck this week.
Thank you so much.
Head coach Alaura Sharp with us here tonight on Mountaineer Talk as the women hit the road to Coastal and James Madison this week. Well, we know you're enjoying your time here at River Street Ale House. Make sure to also check out Town Tavern Blowing Rock for a great dining experience. They're open for lunch, dinner, and later, and have 19 flat-screen TVs for you to catch the game. They also boast the largest outdoor dining area in the High Country, so make sure to stop by Town Tavern Blowing Rock on your next trip to the High Country. More Mountaineer Talk comes your way right after this.
present.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk. Glad you're with us here on this Monday night. Eren Banks joining the show as we shift our attention to men's basketball. And Eren, you got a really cool opportunity last week to go back and play your former team on the road. I know entering the season you said you were going to treat it just like any other game. Did it feel that way when you ran out there?
Definitely did not. The fans are going to help you a lot. So I just locked in, and we, as a team, I know my team got my back. So they always there supporting me, getting me through it, and they was talking. And so, we competitive, so we're going to talk back.
How much fun is that when a game kind of takes on a life of its own? Certainly basketball is still the focus, but there's a little more motivation.
Yeah, it's like we in the moment, we just hooping, playing, being physical all the time, the whole game, and it's just so fun. The environment is amazing.
All right, anytime we go on the road, when you guys watch film the night before a game, there's a snack afterwards, and you got to pick an old reliable staple. Tell us what you went with for the team in your return to Statesboro.
My snack choice?
Yeah.
I went for the Swedish fish, Sour Patch, Gatorade.
I thought you chose a wing place.
Oh, you talking about after? Oh, yeah. Flow, yeah. I definitely went for the lemon pepper.
All right, let's talk about coming to App State. You go in the transfer portal. Certainly you'd played against the Mountaineers before. What was it that ultimately led you to committing to App State?
Seeing the culture from the outside in, that like when you playing against App State, like you in for a fight all night. And that culture, like seeing that, I just wanted to be a part of that so bad, because they won a lot. I didn't win a lot in my career, so I wanted to become a winner.
From the outside, I'm sure you noticed like the physicality, the results. Once you got in the building and got around, kind of, you saw how the bread was buttered. What's the formula that goes into producing what you saw as being on the other side of it?
Consistency every day. Consistent in everything that you do. Weight room, workouts, everything. Eating right. It's just consistent every day.
All right, so you make the transition to App State. Number 13 was what you wore your first couple years of college. Now you're in number 4. Tell me how that got decided.
I came here, Kaysen already had 13. I talked to him about it. He was like, nah, I got to keep that. And then 4 was my dad's number, so I just took on 4. But high school, I was 1,
So it was not just as simple as adding 1 and 3 together. There's a little different story too.
Yeah.
All right. Entering the season, you did a sit-down video with Bob Zork on getting to know the newcomers, and you said you might not be the best dancer on the team, but you're the best TikTok dancer. What's the difference, and what are the TikToks? I know you say don't post every one that you make, but what's kind of in the works? What's the creative process behind what goes into the video?
It's just like it's a different feel. Like when you dance, like you just move and grooving. But like when you TikTok dancing, like it's kind of like you seeing somebody do it and you just do the same thing.
Gotcha.
Basically. And I feel like I'm the best at that.
Okay. And are the TikToks you make just dance videos, or it's other stuff too?
Yeah, it's definitely other stuff. But like with the team, it's most definitely just dance videos. Like we love dance and singing all the time.
That's like a post-game win deal?
Yeah, we're going to celebrate every win.
All right. Certainly, we're in the middle of college basketball season. The conference race is heating up, but the Olympics are also on. Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I haven't at all. I haven't tuned in at all. I just been.
I'm kind of with you. Growing up, I watched the Olympics a lot, and this year I feel like I'm so locked in on college basketball that I'll see it a little bit here and there, but I haven't really gotten into it as much as I would like.
Yeah.
Outside of basketball, you've gotten a chance. You've been in Boone about 6 months now. What have you enjoyed most away from the game?
Really just I like to go out and see a lot. So like I went to Grandfather Mountain a lot of times. Like I just like seeing the view Like Boone is just beautiful.
It doesn't get old. Even
it
just
doesn't. Every
leaving
time.
town on the bus, right?
Yeah, every time it just looks amazing.
What is it that you do with your teammates off the court?
Just we chill a lot. We talk a lot. We bond. We so connected, and that's one thing I love about this team. Like I can have a conversation with anybody on this team. Like it's not like clicked up. Like everybody can talk to everybody, and I like that about this team.
All right, we got 3 games to go. Battling for the top spot in the Sun Belt. What's it going to take down the stretch?
Our consistency that we do every day, our confidence that we play with, our edge, our physicality that we bring. Like people know, like when they come to Outstate, they're gonna be in for a dogfight. So we're gonna bring that every time.
How much pride do you take in that? Not just the preparation, but once you're out there, and especially you draw the best, offensive player as a defender a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's just I know that I know my opponent is like thinking that in the back of his head, like we got a long night ahead of us, and that confidence just like raises my game.
Eren, it's been fun tonight.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
the time and good luck here down the stretch.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Eren Banks joining us tonight here on Mountaineer Talk. Again, just 3 games to go, and it's setting up for a great stretch run. Alumni Hall, the official online store of App State Athletics. Shop the latest and largest selection of App State apparel, hats, Yeti, and all of your game day gear, including brands like Nike, by visiting Alumni Hall on King Street, or shop anytime at appstatesports.com or alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, the ultimate Mountaineer shopping destination. We'll take a timeout and come back with head coach Dustin Kerns. It's Mountaineer Talk presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge, moving healthcare forward together.
Present.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk. Thanks for joining us. Head coach Dustin Kerns alongside his comments brought to you by Blue Ridge Energy, powering a brighter future. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Great to see all the great Mountaineer fans, and congratulations to Coach Sharp on her 100th career Division I win. That's really hard to do at the Division I level, and women had a big win this week.
It's big time. Congratulations. All right, 3 games to go in conference play. We'll look back on this week and talk about Eren in a second, but just you're going into the stretch run. We've got Monday Sun Belt basketball tonight, a couple makeup games. What's kind of the mindset this juncture in the season, especially with the standings being a little not only jumbled up in terms of being close, but the uneven number of games?
Yeah, and I know it sounds cliche-ish, right? But like we just have to focus on App State, and we've got 2 big home games this week. Then we've got a little, time here with a quote bye week. Where we've only got 1 game. Ironically, our bye week is last, so we can get some rest before we travel. But our focus is just one day at a time, App State. And my point with that is all the other stuff, all the other games are just going to kind of take care of itself. Obviously tonight, South Alabama at Marshall. Big game when it comes to standings. One team's going to win, one team's going to lose. We can't do anything about it other than just worry about App State and try to win these, the game in front of us.
All right, let's talk about Eren Banks.
Yeah.
He joined us a moment ago, and this is, you mentioned the other night pregame, it's becoming more and more common. Certainly Jordan Battle is an example of it. We saw Bradley Douglas the other night and Harrisonburg. So certainly there are guys, not just Eren, that have transferred within the conference, but it's your first time as a head coach taking a transfer within the Sun Belt. What was that process like? How did it play out?
Well, first of all, Eren Banks is a phenomenal person. We always want to, add high-character people to our program. Comes from a wonderful family. He's just about the right stuff. And so when he popped in, he's somebody that we obviously had a lot of respect against, that we've played against. He's a good player. And so as more and more conversations happen and just felt like our values and lined up, and we're thrilled to have Eren in our program. He's had a really good year for us. I think his best basketball is ahead of him. And he's still got some big moments for us. He's had some big moments for us this year and really helped us win a lot of games on both sides of the floor.
Yeah, you talk about his impact on both sides, and I think certainly as of late, as you've gone with more 4-guard lineups, a lot of that has to do with the way he's playing and his versatility to allow you to do that. How has his play impacted kind of the lineups you've played, and as he has continued to gain more minutes here down the stretch?
No, absolutely. And obviously Eren started a lot of games. He had a concussion, diving for a loose ball, which is, says a lot about him. But he didn't do anything wrong other than just, a couple games out, and we'd gotten a little bit of a rhythm. He's still playing starter minutes every night. Certainly, being able to play 4 guards has been big for us, and that's big because of Eren Banks. And so, that having that versatility, having that extra ball handler, having an extra shooter. But he's got good size, so it allows us, defensive versatility as well. But that's been a big plus for us, being able to play 4 guards, and obviously he's in 100% of those 4-guard lineups.
When you go into a game, speaking of the 4-guard versus the 2 big lineups, how often during this last stretch when you've played more 4-guard lineups, how much of that has been predetermined, and how much of that is just kind of the game dictating what makes the most sense?
A little bit of both. Sometimes our opponent there, ironically, for a while, would play some smaller lineups, and so that allowed us to do it. I think sometimes we go into games as, hey, maybe we need to go 4 guards and make them adjust to us. And so certainly that's been a deal for us lately, especially at the end of games. And so, really proud of Eren. And once again, I think his best basketball is ahead of him. I think that he's got some big moments coming up.
I think maybe you as a coach don't think twice about it, but I think as a fan, it's way easier to notice offense than defense. But you can tell based upon who he's guarding that he's a really good on-ball defender. Where does his defense show up the most?
Certainly on ball, but also he's in his gaps pretty well, and so he's a good team defender. It means a lot to him, right? And so he's grown this year too. This is a different defensive system for him, and to his credit, it's taken some while. But it should have taken some while because it's completely different. And, he's bought into it, and he's really had some big moments for us on both sides of the ball. Just last weekend, big 3, but in Georgia Southern, he made a big bucket in transition. He goes down, he gets a big 50-50 ball and gets the play back, bounces. Like, those are things that maybe you're not on the stat sheet, but really impact winning. And, obviously the bucket is on the stat sheet, but he had 4 or 5 assists by just making the right play. Those are things that we value, but he's doing well, and I think, once again, he's got some big moments coming up for us.
You talk about the adjustment in learning a new system, and certainly that's not unique to Eren. That's not unique to App State, right? As teams evolve and players move team to team, how different, what is that adjustment? What do you forecast when you bring guys in terms of what that learning curve is going to be? And beyond just the system and the philosophy, how much might terminology differ school to school?
A lot. We actually do terminology quizzes. However, when we do them, they can't get them wrong. I always tell them, hey, it's okay if you get it wrong. The reason we're doing this is just so we all get on the same page with terminology. And so we have a PowerPoint presentation in the preseason, probably once a week. We put up a term. We ask different people. Once again, I say, hey, it's okay to get it wrong. If you get it wrong, that means somebody else in the room is going to learn it. But we do those things to kind of speed up terminology.
Yeah, because I would imagine that there's many things that a lot of teams do, but they call it different things. And so if you're not doing that sort of work, then there could be a lot of confusion, even if you're running the same concept, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a lot of just maybe getting alignment, getting everybody on the same page with terminology. And sometimes, like this is Kaysen's, I guess, third coach. They could have 3 different kind of terminology. But once you kind of see the plays and things like that, these guys are quick learners.
All right, plenty more to get to with head coach Dustin Kerns. First, we will take a timeout. It's Mountaineer Talk, presented by UNC Health Blue Ridge, and it continues right after this.
UNC
Welcome back to the show, continuing our conversation with head coach Dustin Kerns. And coach, a big week at home, final homestand of the season, and you talk about wanting to play in games that matter, and certainly it matters in the standings, but games that matter always feel like they have a little juice beyond that. How excited are you to be at home this week and have 2 really good atmospheres ahead of big games against Marshall and Georgia Southern in the standings?
Big deal, obviously, starting with Marshall on Thursday night, another team that's at the top of the standings with us. And so, big game. And then on Saturday, Georgia Southern, Senior Day, where Alonzo Dodd, Kaysen Jennings, Jalen Toddle, suited up for the last time in the home center. And so, I think our guys, when you winning 7 games in the Sun Belt is really, really hard, right? Especially with the travel and the competitive environment in this league. But I think hopefully we can, get a great atmosphere, this weekend for both games as we try to stay at the top of the conference.
You mentioned Senior Day on Saturday, and certainly with the college basketball era that we're in, where transferring is so commonplace, it's not often that you have a guy that's been at one school for 4 or 5 years, but I don't think that diminishes guys who have still chosen App State to be their final stop on their college journey, the way the 3 guys that you mentioned have. What does it mean to be able to honor them and for them to have chosen App State as their final destination?
Yeah, and this App State means a lot to them. They've, certainly Alonzo's been here a couple years, but they've really grown to love App State, love this fan base, love, Boone, and they wear the App State brand proudly. And so, hopefully we can send those guys out with a win in front of their families. And I know Alonzo's got like 20-some people coming down from Minnesota, right,
That's
that have
awesome.
not been to a game. And so getting him out here, on Saturday afternoon with a win in front of those family members, that this is their first game.
That's awesome.
It would be pretty special, for all those guys. But obviously it means a big deal for our team. But, hopefully we can, honor those guys by just, giving it our all.
As you head into this week and this final stretch, just 3 games left in Sun Belt play, I know you're laser focused on each matchup, but as you enter this final stretch, what are the areas that you hope to improve upon the most and tighten up as you make your way towards postseason play?
Yeah, our league is so matchup driven, and so I think it kind of depends on each opponent. And so there's some things that we've got to do better. The last time we played Marshall, and we just played Georgia Southern obviously last week, so that's kind of fresh in our minds. Obviously we did a lot of things well. There's some things we can improve on, but there's some things that just they're more opponent driven than more overall, and because this league is very matchup based.
It's interesting. I was going to hit on that. I think it's fascinating how every team plays such a different style, from how they utilize their personnel, whether it be size or speed on offense, or all the different defensive looks you see in this league. Why do you think that is, that there's just so many different ways to play the game in the Sun Belt?
I think simply just put, it's a 14-team league, right? So 14 teams is a lot, so you're just going to see a lot of different ways to play in when you've got a big league.
What are the pros and cons of that, of experiencing so many different types of teams?
Yeah, and I think that's why you've seen so much parity this year in the Sun Belt. Here we are at 10-5 and tied for first. Right now, 13-5, won it last year. Right, the year before 16-2, we were able to. But so I just think that the parity. There is a lot of parity right now. I think that you've got, a team that's maybe 6-8 that is almost in, could be in 5th place. I don't know the exact, but my point, a lot of parity, and so to have consistency in this league, obviously it's been a challenge for everybody. But I think that's the exciting part too, that every single given night you got to show up, you got to play, and hopefully we have a great home court atmosphere for these last 2 games.
Is that something that you think at all about during roster construction, trying to bring in guys that are as versatile as possible, knowing all the different styles that you're going to encounter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's complicated when you're building that roster and you're trying to get, quote, 7 guards and 6 bigs, and then you're trying to get, a couple people that have some versatility. I think that in a perfect world, yes, I just think that recruiting is always going to be imperfect. We're never going to just, hey, I want this 6'7" guy that shoots 45 from 3 and can dunk and alley-oop. Everybody wants those guys, right? And so I just think that we've got to, we certainly, try to value those things, but most importantly, we try to just get the best fit for App State, this campus, this community, and our program.
Coach, appreciate the time. Good luck this week.
Thanks for everybody being here. Really appreciate it. Go Mountaineers, take the stairs.
That's head coach Dustin Kerns with us on Mountaineer Talk. We'll take one final break and come back and wrap up the show right after this.
Window World.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Talk as we put a bow on this week's episode. And if you missed any of the show today, you can check out the Nothing But an App State podcast platform where you can catch the entire show on demand, plus our weekly podcast episodes in the Black and Gold Rewind as we recap every App State men's basketball game this season. Thanks to Eren Banks and Elena Pericic for joining us tonight, and of course the head coaches Alaura Sharp and Dustin Kerns. The women on the road this week, they play at Coastal Carolina, 11 o'clock on Wednesday for Education Day. Chanticleers 12-15 on the year, 5-9 in Sunbelt play, and then the Dukes on Saturday. JMU women 20-8 on the year, 11-4 in the Sunbelt. The men at home this week, two big ones to close out the regular season as they face Marshall on Thursday night. The Herd play today against South Alabama. That's a big-time matchup, as Coach Kerns mentioned. A lot of teams bunched up in the standings. Just 4 games separate right now first place and 13th place, believe it or not, in the Sun Belt standings. So Marshall at 6:30 on Thursday, and then Saturday the rematch against Georgia Southern for Senior Day. So be sure to get out to the home center and support this team. Thanks to Ryan Sirk, thanks to Rob Burlington, and we will talk to you next week right back here for Mountaineer Talk. I'm at present. So long, everybody.
State Sports Network.